Every season, I call upon my good friend Gary Lord to share with us the latest trends and techniques in faux finishing. Hi, Gary. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me back.
Well, welcome back to the loft. And you know why you're here. I need to know all the latest trends and techniques. So I understand you've got some good ones for me today.
Very much, I think. What we're going to use is some metallic materials to do this raised plaster technique.
Oh, wow. Is that beautiful?
You can make a multitude of designs. You can use any stencil pattern that you want. I'm going to show two different types of patterns. One with an overall damask pattern like this one. And then there's another one that you have in your hand that will show a random pattern that you could use. And this is called a Renaissance tile pattern. So you can use any pattern that you would like. And we will be showing both of those. And you can also color them any way that you would want to go with your decor in your home.
I love this, and this rich color is really nice. Okay, so what is our first step to getting started?
Well, the first step is you need to put a plaster material on the background called Plastertex. Now, this is a grainy, sandy plaster material, and it allows the color to bite into it. And then after that, I will be putting on a pearlized finish when that's dry. The pearlized finish will resist against the color, but the Plastertex, the first step, absorbs the color. And that's how you get that contrast in the finish.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you were going to have to actually go in and hand paint, or you were going to have to do something like that.
I only do that for my real wealthy clients.
Yeah. Okay, so wall prep. What do we need to do to the wall? Is there anything we need to do before we put that on?
The wonderful thing about this is it can go over old, nasty surfaces if you got cracks in it, because this plaster will fill all that in. Little divots, creases.
For older homes with plaster walls,
perfect.
That's a great tip.
And if you take wallpaper off and you know the walls are kind of messy and they don't look so good, bingo, put this on, you save it, and it looks great. You can also put it on brand new drywall. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be old walls. It can be brand new. You can go over flat base paint. You can go over semi-gloss base paint. You can go over the top of anything. The Plastertex will stick to it all.
Can you go over something like the old wood paneling?
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure you could.
So we can cover up anything.
Yeah.
And make it beautiful. Okay, let's get started.
Okay, well, what you want to do is, I find it's easy to use a brush to apply the Plastertex because it's a very thick material. Yeah, you can see how thick it is. It's very paste-like. And what you want to do is you want to take it and then just brush it out. And you could try rolling it on, but I've never had very good success with rolling it. So what I want to do is I want to try to brush this material on evenly with a minor amount of material. I don't want real heavy, real thick. I'm not looking for that. It's just like a real fine skim of the plastic.
But an even skim.
But an even, as much as you can get.
Now, do we want brush strokes and things like that?
Yes,
so it
at
adds
this point.
to it.
Well, in a step that comes right after this, you'll see I get rid of the brush strokes. But first off, I have to apply it like this. And of course, you would do your whole room at this point. You would do everywhere. So just go around the whole room. You don't.
Now, are we worrying about this setting up on us or anything?
I'm just going to answer that.
You're
so good. No, you don't, because it's a positive application. I could stop right now, come back another day, and go right into it, and you would never see it. So it's not a wet edge issue that you have to worry about. So it's a positive application, but I'm not going to do this whole board because I want to show you everything today, but the concept will be there. So I'm pushing really hard. You can see how hard down that brush is to get that to even out.
And you're pulling more of it over. I can see that.
Right. And the nice thing, too, it can go over any color and it still remains white. You see this board was off-white. You don't have to have, you could be blue, you could be pink, you could be any color, because this will cover almost everything. So then you take your blade, and this is a trowel blade, a drywall blade, and what I'd want to do is very lightly, with very light pressure, scrape down across this. And what that'll do is that ends up getting rid of the plaster material, the brush strokes. And I must have a little bit of grit in there, but what you end up doing is you'll just work that out, and if you lay the blades flatter, see how that is?
It just smooths.
Right. When I had it up higher, it was cutting into the material. So basically, you want some undulation in the material at this point. And then you would do your whole room.
Nice, even if we just painted over that.
This is a great treatment because if you look close, you can see the little grittiness of the sand in the material. So you just keep working it, and you get it as smooth as you can just by working it out. And hold the blade very flat to the surface. You can see I almost have it flat on the board. And just keep working it, and it goes smooth. 2 people could do it. One could applicate it. One could trowel it off. Then the next step, after you have that done, is that we want to apply, and this is what it would look like without my stencils, once it's firmly dry. It takes overnight, but really 2 to 4 hours if you're working a big room. So, and then once it's firmly dry, you can do a light sand on it with a piece of sandpaper just to knock off any high spots that you might have had.
Okay.
And then take your stencil. We're going to start with the Renaissance stencil first. And you could do a random drop match pattern.
There's a bunch of different stencils then.
Oh gosh, there's thousands. These are from Melanie Royals, and you can use any design that you would like. I like hers a lot. She's a designer out of San Diego. But what I want to do is then I would do a random drop match pattern. If you're very precise, you could do a perfect drop match pattern, which would mean I would have to measure exactly where my points would be, and I would put my stencil right there on the wall if I want a perfect match like a wallpaper. Or you could do it random, just by eye. When you do random, what I find works best is think of longitudinal and latitudinal lines, and don't have them match up perfect. I wouldn't want this one dead underneath this one. I would offset it ever so slightly, and then this one's over here, so I sort of have, and then none of them cross this way. So you get a nice balance and a nice composition.
Especially because we're using 3 different stencils for this, we don't want it to match up. I mean, we want it to be random.